So we'll continue our discussion on history, okay, modern India. We have so far done around 5-6 lectures in this particular series, okay. So in this session, I'll be talking about the Great Famine in central part of India, which happened in 1876, 78 time. So we will be talking about this famine. Then we will also talk about 1877, something which is very famous, that is Delhi Darbar, which happened during the time of this famine, which angered the nationalists. Okay, Delhi Darbar 1877. And we will also talk about 1880, the famine code, which was drafted by Strachey. Okay, and we will also talk about some other important concepts like which happened in 1878, like Vernacular Press Act. Okay, Vernacular Press Act. We will talk about Arms Act. We will also talk about that issue of lowering the age of civil services and the impact of it. Okay, and then during Ripon's time, there is a very controversial bill which was introduced, that also we'll discuss, which is known as Ilbert Bill. Okay, so and if time permits, I'll be talking about Congress, and we'll see Congress in detail. Okay, so let's start with the first topic. Now, when I'm discussing about famine, I'm actually talking about Lord Lytton's time. Okay, so we are actually talking about Lord Lytton, and this period, it's actually 1876 to 80. This period is full of controversies, and Lytton was a very cruel governor general, and nationalism was on the rise during this time. We have already discussed that in 1853 railways introduced, and then it connected India, and nationalism emerged because of that. Okay, one of the reasons for emergence of nationalism is actually introduction of railways, as it connected India. And then we have also talked about establishment of universities, that also helped in the emergence of nationalism. All those things we have discussed already, so I'm not getting into the details of it. So the point is, during this time, nationalism was on the rise. Okay, and the reactionary policies of Lytton during this period actually culminated into the formation of Congress in 1885. So we will be discussing about that shortly. Okay, so the first point that we need to discuss is the Great Famine in central part of India, which occurred during 1876-78 time. Now, what do you mean by famine? Famine is actually acute shortage of food, which is caused due to either natural or man-made reasons. Okay, so let me write it down. Acute shortage of food in a given area, either due to natural or man-made reasons. Okay, now what do you mean by natural reason? I'm talking about flood, earthquake, drought, etc. What do you mean by man-made reasons? The wars, ethnic clashes, and all these are actually man-made reasons. Okay, now here this famine, is it due to natural reason or man-made reason, is a big debate. The Britishers argue that it is because of natural reasons, and the nationalists argue that it is because of man-made reason. And in fact, this famine is actually due to man-made reason. So this famine is not due to natural reason, and it is actually caused because of the wrong policies and the implementation of different policies by the government. So this is one of the criticism of the nationalist, and that went against the government. So there were two stands on this. Nationalist on one side, they were arguing that it is man-made reason, government is responsible for the famine, and government or the British arguing that it is not man-made, it is natural reason. Okay, so the debate was like this. One group is arguing poverty led to famine. Okay, that means poverty is because of man-made reason, it is because of the government policies and the implementation of policies, and that is the reason for famine. On the other side, famine leads to poverty. Okay, so this is the argument of the nationalists. Poverty leads to famine. What the nationalists argued is British policy of high rate of taxation, which made people poor. Okay, so high rate of taxation made people poor. So when you are poor, your purchasing power actually reduced. So when the purchasing power is reduced, even the small variation in prices can cause acute shortage of food. So even the small variation of prices will affect the poor people. Also, the small variations in production also result into shortage of food. Okay. But what is the government stand? Government stand is nature was responsible for drought. There was a drought. Okay. So drought due to nature, and then there is no rainfall. Okay, and this led to famine, and because of that people became poor. That means famine led to poverty. So ultimately two views are there. You just need to have some idea about that. These are the two views. Nationalists say poverty led to famine, and government say famine led to poverty. Okay, now you can see it was in central part of India. It was very much affected in central part of India. Around 25 lakh people perished, and lakhs of animals also died in this famine. But more than this famine, the government behavior is what angered and annoyed the nationalists. See, when people were suffering, the government conducted a very famous ceremony in 1877, which is known as Delhi Darbar. So millions of people were suffering on one side, but this Delhi Darbar was conducted by spending huge amount of public money in 1877, which angered the nationalist. Okay, now why this Delhi Darbar was conducted? It was actually held to welcome Queen Victoria. So to welcome Queen Victoria, who came to India for the first time. Okay, so this Delhi Darbar was actually conducted to welcome Queen Victoria in 1877. She was declared as Empress or Queen of India in this Delhi Darbar. She was also given a title Kaiser-i-Hind. Okay, this was given to Mahatma Gandhi also when he was in South Africa. And what is Kaiser? Kaiser is actually the Persian version of Caesar. Okay, so in this Darbar, why this Delhi Darbar was conducted? It is basically for welcoming Queen Victoria, and she was given this status Empress, or she was declared as Empress or Queen of India, and she was given this title Kaiser-i-Hind, which was also given to Mahatma Gandhi when he was in South Africa. Okay, now there will be two more Delhi Darbars which are going to come, and out of which 1911 is going to be more important, because in that the capital was shifted from Calcutta to Delhi, and there was annulment of partition of Bengal also. These two provisions are important, and this was actually asked in a prelims in 2015. We'll come back to that later. See, welcoming Queen is not a problem, but the problem here was a huge amount of public money was spent to welcome this Queen Victoria when she came to India, basically to appease the Queen by the local kings, right? Because if you remember in 1858 we have discussed about Queen's proclamation, and in that there were 3 points, right? The first point was there won't be any further annexations. So I'm just talking about Queen's proclamation after the 1857 revolt, when the Queen directly took up the control over India from East India Company. Okay, no state would be annexed. So that means 1/3 of India was remaining as princely states, and this will remain as princely states forever. And if you know some history, after independence, this was one of the most important problem that we actually faced to consolidate India, right? Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and all, they have done huge effort to consolidate India and to mobilize India together. Okay, so that was actually a big problem. If that was also with Britishers, it would have been easy for us after independence to consolidate the entire area. Now, second point in that Queen's proclamation is there won't be any conversion by force, which is not relevant here. I'm just writing it down anyway. No conversion by force. And the third point is there won't be any discrimination in the recruitment of army services. Okay, no discrimination in the recruitment of army services. These were Queen's proclamation. Out of this you can see the first point, no state would be annexed. So the kings were happy, the princely state, the kings were happy with this provision, and they want to appease the queen so that the queen won't change her mind, and there won't be any further annexation in future also. And it was a gentlewoman promise, and it was kept till independence. And just now I told you that was the major problem that we faced during the time of independence, to consolidate into a single Indian state. Okay, so that is why this Delhi Darbar conducted, and many Indian local kings came. They have donated many things to the queen. They have presented many things, the precious stones and metals and everything. Okay, and huge amount of public money was spent during this Delhi Darbar. So you just need to have some idea about this Delhi Darbar. Now, after this famine, a commission was appointed. So the commission was appointed by the government. So if the question is about who appointed the commission, it was appointed by Lytton only, because famine was during Lytton's time. So the commission was appointed by Lytton. The commission was headed by Richard Strachey. I'm not feeling well actually, that is why you may be facing problem, so I'm talking slow. If you want, you can watch the video in 1.5 speed or 2 speed. Okay, it's very difficult for me to talk today. Richard Strachey is actually the head of the commission. Okay, and it was appointed by Lytton, but the famine code was drafted, which is in 1880 under Ripon. Okay, so that has to be very clear for you. Who appointed the commission? The commission was headed by Richard Strachey. Lytton appointed, and when the famine code was drafted, it was under Lord Ripon's time in 1880. So we'll quickly discuss about that famine code here. Okay, so famine code 1880. So the first point is actually there won't be any tax. Okay, but not in all area. If there is a crop failure of 50% or more, there won't be any tax. So let me write it down. No tax in the areas where more than 50% of crop failure. Okay, so if the crop failure is more than 50%, you don't want to pay tax. That is the first provision of the famine code. Second is actually government will provide food for those areas where famine is affected. Actually, government will give work, and in return government will give food. So it's similar to the food for work program. Okay, so government will provide food to the people in the famine affected area. Okay, what is the third point? Government will provide fodder for the animals. Okay, so government will provide fodder for the animals. Okay, so this is a famine code. So you need to know the 3 points here. They can ask you which among the following is correct with respect to famine code 1880. So what all things you need to know is the commission was appointed by Lytton, headed by Richard Strachey, and the famine code was drafted under the Governor Generalship of Lord Ripon, and these are the provisions. No tax in the areas where there is 50% or more crop failure. The government will provide food for the people. The government will provide fodder for the animals. Okay. Now next we'll move on to Arms Act. I've told you already there are 3 controversial decisions which happened during Lord Lytton's time. The first one being Arms Act.